You know what I can't stand? It's how the media seems to portray this central way of living that we're all supposed to abide by. We are drowned out with these images of Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, whoever the fuck else. And People magazine tries to cram it down our throats. This is the way you're supposed to live. This is what you're supposed to look like. This is how you're supposed to dress. And if you don't, you are falling below the norm. We don't seem to realize that everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own world. They're playing their own game with their life. And my reality is entirely different from your reality. The things that I have become accustomed to and the things that I'm used to are things that you would find alien. And the same is true of me. If I were to live your life, I wouldn't want to live it. I wouldn't want to have anything to do with it. I wouldn't want to be part of it. And we go in, day out, and we see other people, and we wonder, you know, what exactly is the best way to live? Very often I'll see people, usually young, beautiful women, and I think, you know, they must have it together. They're beautiful. They don't have to worry about being ugly. That's a burden that God, if there was a God, didn't throw upon them, but He threw it upon other people. And looks seem to take precedence over anything else for me. I don't know why that is, and I know that that's totally untrue, because looks don't last. They fade away like anything else. But it seems that I would have more stock and respect for someone that I found attractive. I might want to be more like them. I might want them. I might desire them. And there's always that empty hole inside of me, because I never did know what it was like to be one of the beautiful people. I didn't have that luxury in life. I tried to just donate my time to other things, and, you know, when I was in the 5th or 6th grade, it didn't bother me that I wasn't with the in crowd. But as I got older, I tried not to let it bother me, but it did. And whoever said, don't let things bother you, was a fucking idiot. Depression and things, the way that you feel when things happen to you is not an action, it's a reaction. You can control your actions. What you cannot control are your reactions. And it's like someone saying, don't worry, because worrying does nothing for you. But worrying is not something that you do because you feel it's going to solve a problem. You do it because you can't help it. It's a reaction. And, you know, it's I wonder sometimes, even the people who are attractive, do they know it? Do they realize it? Do they care? Have they ever not been attractive? And sometimes people think they're attractive and they're not. They think that they deserve something special, some sort of special treatment. And, you know, if you are unattractive and someone unattractive was to come up to you and ask you out and you turn them down and you think in your mind, I wouldn't touch that fucking piece of shit. And you wonder, well, someone's probably saying that same thing about you if you've ever been rejected. Because rejection hurts. And sometimes it makes me mad because I wonder, you know, what do some women see in some of these men they date? See, I live in East Tennessee. Down here in the good old fucking shit deep South, some of what the very worst of what America has to offer. Now, what I do love about Tennessee, the love-hate relationship, like everything else, is I love the ruralness of it. I love the beauty of the woods and the solitude and being away from the rest of the world, which I utterly despise. I love being out here, and when you're out here in the woods and the mountains and the surrounding countryside, you, in a sense, build your own world, because if you don't, you're not going to have a world. But I know that there's a real world going on out there, and I've always wanted to be part of that, quote, real world, but I know that that real world does not exist. It's just an illusion. It's just a thought in my head. My world is just as real as that one. But back to the point. The boys and the men that get all the girls around in this area, I mean, there's nothing to them. About 90% of them, this is what they're like. They're about 6'3". They weigh probably 180 pounds. They're very well built, very attractive. but they also have rotted teeth. They have absolutely no prospects of any kind. They have no goals, no obligations. They usually don't have a job. They usually, at the very most, have a high school diploma and maybe some college, but very seldom do they have a college degree. And they usually either live with their girlfriends or they live with their parents. They usually don't have a driver's license because it's been revoked for having a DUI or some stupid bullshit. And all the girlfriends of these worthless fucks do is sit around and talk to their girlfriends about how irresponsible their boyfriend is. But they won't pull away from them. If someone like me was to go up to one of these girls and ask them out, they would turn me down. Because I don't have that bad boy quality that these fucking losers they are dating do. So I think, well, maybe if you're a loser, is that the way to get dates? Because I'm not seeing it. Maybe that's the way to get dates around here. Maybe these girls just don't have any self-esteem and they feel, hey, this is the best I can do. Or maybe looks are the only thing they look at. Now, sure, these guys are good in bed. They usually have average-sized cocks, and they can usually please their woman sexually, but most of the time they end up pleasing some other women too, which usually results in the relationship getting split up because the boyfriend's cheating on the girlfriend. I just don't understand it, but that's just the way things go around here. It's just, stupidity is not a lack of intelligence. Stupidity is having intelligence and not using it. And there is so much of that around here. I mean, there's stupidity anywhere, but it seems like there's more of it around here. And there's slums anywhere you go. And I'd say the slums in, say, New York City, if you live in New York, or if you live in LA, I'm sure you have a lot worse slums than I have around here. But the slums around here usually consist of worn-down trailer parks filled with drunken, raging rednecks who will throw a beer bottle at your car if you so much as try to pull around in their fucking gravel, mud-filled driveway. And I grew up around all of this. I grew up in the pit of all of this. You know, the friends of my mother's boyfriend who raised me throughout my adolescence were just, I mean, they were hard-working men, but they were rough-neck motherfuckers. You know, their lives evolved around drinking beer and living in a scumbag shithole. It's always raining, it's always muddy down here in the pit of the Tennessee Valley. I mean, there's beauty to it, but there's also a lack of beauty. You ever seen Deliverance? If you haven't, watch it. 1972 film starring Burt Reynolds and John Boyd. Watch that film and you will get an idea of what it's like around here. It's not like that everywhere, but this is in the heart of the Appalachian country. I mean, poverty is rampant in this area. Ignorance is rampant. A lack of education is rampant. Even people who have extensive college educations seem to lack the most basic sense of intelligence. I'd say the average IQ in this region is probably about 90. It's 98 nationwide. The average IQ is 98. And an average IQ is not smart. It's just average. Do you consider the average person smart? I didn't think so. I don't really know what the point to all of this has been. There's been several points. Maybe there is no point. But the whole goal of this video is for you to gather your own point. Take a look at where you live and ask yourself, what's wrong with it? But maybe what we do too much of is we bitch and complain all the time. You see, we bitch and complain as if we think there is some divine power controlling everything. We think that there is a small council of about 5 men that control the whole country. They control everything. They control the gas prices. They control the economy. And they're all to blame for everything that goes wrong. This is not the case. There is no one to blame. There's no one to direct your anger at unless you want to direct it at yourself. You are just as responsible for this country being fucked up as anyone else. So if you want things to change, make an attempt to change them. And that's what we try to do at the Visual Circle Church.